What is good, everyone? Chris with Journals, Comics, and Pop Culture. It is Friday. This is Friday Night Live. Welcome in, everyone. We already got some folks hanging out. P kills Zach. Delete this. Oh boy, I'm gonna be deleting a lot tonight. No, I'm just kidding. Kids collecting. What's going on, Lee? What's up, Lee? So, as we always do, folks, we're gonna take a few minutes just to let some more folks get in. We're going to have a fun show tonight, I hope. Nothing too serious. We may get a little serious, but I want us to have fun with it. Maybe learn from it as always. Everything I discuss, I want to be some critical thinking involved. And, of course, I want us all to come out of it with a broadened perspective on the issues at hand. I do have some updates to go over before we get into the topic of discussion tonight as well. So, first and foremost, if you all have not checked out my video that I dropped yesterday, I'll give you a sneak peek right now regarding EGS's brand new proprietary cases. I did an honest review, folks. You guys can see my reaction. I did an unboxing when I got my books back. The brand new slabs, they are clean. I won't say too much right here, but you can see it in my hand. I got 3 books back from them. Custom labels, of course, and as I always like to say, custom labels are optional. I did a full-on honest review. Definitely go check that out, guys. I'm still excited. I've been looking at them all day long. Phil, what's going on? Dale. Beautiful. Absolutely. It is a heavy title, Lee. We're gonna talk about it. Let's get into a couple little updates, as I always like to do. A happy Friday. We're just a week away, just over a week away from Halloween. So a reminder that there is no Comic Book Canon show tonight. But if you guys aren't following us and subscribe to us on Comic Book Canon, our link is below. We do our weekly Sunday night live shows. You all need to be subbed to us over there. Next week, next Sunday, the day before Halloween, we're going to have an awesome special Halloween themed show with a special Halloween themed segment that you all can participate in. We will have an update on that segment most likely in 2 days. So you got to follow our Comic Book Canon Instagram at Comic Book Canon and make sure you stay tuned for that announcement on how you guys can participate in an awesome special Halloween edition segment. It's going to be really fun. I promise you guys. I promise you. We've never done anything like this before. Now, a couple more reminders of what's coming up at the end of the month for the end of October, which is, man, October is flying by. We have my giveaways. So we have the October Patreon giveaway, Patreon member giveaway. We have the Arthur Adams Eternals #1 variant. Beautiful variant. We got the Dark Ages #1 right there. And then we got West Coast Avengers 62, first appearance of the Timekeepers. So that's going to go to the winner for my Patreon only contest. Then, of course, we have our YouTube channel member contest. At the end of the month, you're going to be winning this unopened Walmart 3-pack with the Thor #1 variant. And it is in a bag and board, but the 3-pack is not opened. I do not know what the other 2 books are. So good luck to everyone. As long as you are a member at 11:59 on October 31st, you're going to be entered in to the randomizer to win one of those prizes for my Patreon members and then my YouTube channel members. And remember, end of the year Patreon giveaway. I love this book. I love looking at it. Man, would this look awesome? Oh, would this look awesome in a new EGS case with a custom label? Venom #29, Origin of Codex. This is the Scorpion Comics exclusive variant. Limited to 1,500. Matt, what's going on? Tony's here. Peter's here. Simon's here. This is just a beauty. And I've been showing it off every week for the last couple of weeks. I'll show it off probably next week again before we do the giveaway. Really, actually, this is the end of the year, so we'll have more time. We have a couple months before we do this giveaway. I'll probably add a couple more books to the end of year Patreon giveaway as well. So that's the updates, folks. That is the updates we have. I have an awesome unboxing that I did today from A1 Comics. Big shout out to them. It's a massive Grail type unboxing, folks. I'm not going to release that until next week, so stay tuned for that. I also have, okay, you guys, many of you know that I press my own comics, right? And I do pressing videos, try to share my tips with you. I have not pressed comic books for other people, like as a service. I don't charge for pressing services. And people always ask me, yo, do you charge for pressing? And I tell them, first responder, what's going on? I say, no, not at this time. And then they always ask, who do you recommend? And I haven't really had anyone. Well, I have somebody now. I sent some books in and I got them back this week. I did some before and after video footage. I did the unboxing, showing off what they look like. I was very, very impressed. I have to edit all that video together, and I'm hoping to release that next week as well, because I'm excited to, give these guys some love for what they do, and to obviously allow you all to know who this is, so you have an option, a trustworthy option of sending in your presses. Very, very, sending in your books to be pressed, very, very affordable too. They offer a quick press and a more full press. So, but again, that'll all be in that video, hopefully dropping sometime next week. E-Dub, what's going on? All right. So who's ready? Who is ready to get into this topic of discussion tonight? I was suffering from another migraine the last 2 days. I feel a little better now. Got to stay hydrated. I'm going to try to push through this for you guys because I needed to talk about it. I always say when I go on Friday Night Lights, it's something that I needed to talk about. So let's actually show off this beautiful EGS slab one more time. One more time before we get into it. Look at that. Look at that. Go watch the video, folks, after the live stream. Look at that. Look at that. Anyways, okay, enough of that. Rolling up my sleeves. All right, here we go. Here we go. We ready for this? I delete comments and censor your opinions. Raise of hands. Class in session. Mr. Chris. I just had a wild Friday with my students today. They were actually very good. They earned these things that we call paw prints. Okay, we give out these little things, little paper things like this. They write their name on it, and if they do good and in class, we give them a paw print. Boy, they worked hard. They earned their paw print today. So let's see how many of you guys can earn your paw prints. How many of you hanging out right now? Right now, Lyric. Thank you for that feedback, Lyric. Dale, Lee, how many of you that are hanging out right now believe that I delete comments if I don't like your opinion? Raise of hands. I guess you can do a hand emoji, or you could say yes you do, or no, I don't think so, or you could plead the fifth. Oh, you guys. Dale. No paw print for Dale. Peter says, censor me. That sounds kind of naughty, Peter. I don't know. I don't know what we're doing here. Nathan's in the house. Nathan says, I doubt you delete things. Doesn't seem your nature. Okay, thank you for that. I do not believe you do. Negative Ghost Rider. Dangers. Let's see. Who else? Peter gave a thumbs down. Simon's just cracking up. All right, folks. Here's how I want to approach this. I've been we know that last week was full of controversy due to the NYCC, New York Comic Con Peach Momoko stuff that went down, right? I did a video reading the Bleeding Cool article. I was very empathetic to the whole situation. I said, let's not jump to conclusions. Let's make sure we get all the facts. I can understand and see that this may be happening. I can see this happening. I get it. These are things that could probably be addressed. Let's not point fingers. Let's get all the facts. I did another live stream once I had more facts. Then I did another live stream. And I brought individuals on that shared their opinions. I actually took in a lot of opinions from a lot of different people, a lot that were there. And, you know, when we, and I said in these live streams, facts and truths are your truths. And it's a fact of the matter based on your perception. And I was very clear that nobody has the facts outside of their own perception of the facts, unless you had like video. And even then, you know, context can be skewed, et cetera, et cetera. One thing though that's evident that came out from, I mean, so many independent sources that were there verified that indeed the individual that caused the scuffle wasn't an exhibitor, but was somebody with a VIP badge. So somebody that entered like a normal guest, but had a VIP badge. They're the ones that started the scuffle, put their hands on somebody with an exhibitor badge that was waiting in line already. The exhibitor badge individual pushed him back, so forth. But, you know, there was a bigger issue, I think, throughout the weekend that made Peach Momoko feel a certain way. There was obviously a word shared by her publicly. There was words shared by her husband as well, and her team. And I think that we can come out of this. And I don't know if you guys saw, but I posted a typed message in the community post on YouTube yesterday. I don't know if you all saw that or read that, but I stated my final thoughts on the NYCC drama. And it's that, again, this is something that everybody had their hands in this. Certain individuals had their hands in this, and we can label them all we want. You know, we could say it's flippers, it's resellers, it's vendors, it's normal collectors, it's real collectors, it's this or that. When the bottom line is it's people not acting like good people. Greed, envy, anger, ignorance, all these prejudice, all these things come from anywhere, no matter how you label people. And what's plaguing the hobby right now is a lot of things, right, from a lot of different people. And what's making it worse is that we can't talk about it. And we can't have a respectful conversation of two differentiating opinions or opinions for two perspectives. And then we clash and we divide and then we conquer. And we're dividing and conquering ourselves. We are our own detriment on all sides. This us against them won't work. And that's what I summed it up to. And after all that I did last week, it seems that people still can't get past their prejudice. And it is, what does prejudice mean? To prejudge. Prejudicial. You know, being prejudiced doesn't have to be race related, sex related, you know, gender related. Like, prejudice is a prejudgment on an individual for whatever reason. And what comes of prejudices? How do we validate our prejudices? Labels. Whenever we're mad at something and we call it flippers, we take any substance out of the word flipper and it becomes prejudice. This is a fact based on the definition of the terms being used. Even when we say true collector, real collector, we're being prejudicial to what we're not putting in that box. This needs to stop because we lose the argument. We lose the substance in the argument. What's going on, Johnny? Ghost jump. So it seems that still people aren't understanding this, and I'm still getting so many comments on all of my stuff that I did last week surrounding the NYCC, New York Comic Con incident. And they keep jumping in the comments saying, we need to rid. And again, I'm not trying to mock anybody, but it's like, it's that we need to rid this community of flippers and these whatnotters. It's after so all it's telling me is that you're not listening to me. And I'm not sitting here saying that you need to agree with everything I say, but they're clearly not listening. So I continue to engage, though, and conversate with these people. But from all this, we got issues for sure, for sure. Out of this, a lot of people that were like having an issue with what, first off, a lot of people took my words way out of context. And honestly, I do believe because they're so blinded by their prejudices. They're so blinded by their kind of echo chamber way of thinking that what I'm saying is just kind of going in one ear and out the other or over their head, or they're just not getting it. But for some reason, there was so many people that were saying, why are you deleting my comments? And I'm like, I'm not deleting anything. So one thing that does happen is if you go into, for anybody that actually has a YouTube channel, you know this, when you go into your dashboard and you go into your comments to where you can review and respond to all your comments, there's a section of held comments. So YouTube will flag certain comments if they have curse words or if they seem to be inappropriate, right? Sometimes spam gets caught up in this. And you could go on that and you can look at what's been held. They hold them for review, basically. And then I, as a YouTuber, I can read it and say, oh, no, this isn't spam or this isn't inappropriate. I'm going to allow this. If it is spam, I still report it as spam and then it deletes it automatically. If it is inappropriate, then you could just delete it. You could block users, of course, right? All this stuff. I want everyone to know right now, I do not delete comments. I don't. I delete literally out of my, I've been seriously doing this for what, 2.5 years. I maybe deleted 3 comments. I mean, that's not spam, of course. Like porn bots and stuff like that. I maybe deleted 3, 4 comments. I mean, I don't have an exact number. And the only time I delete comments is when somebody is literally making like a violent threat to either me or somebody else. And usually it's I think there was one comment that I deleted and it was towards my children. Like y'all can come at me all you want and I'll still leave it up there. But there was somebody that made a threatening comment towards my children. That comment was deleted. That individual was reported and blocked. Now, I will block somebody if somebody's just a troll and it's like, okay, I'm done. I have the right to block you, but I haven't even done that much. I've only blocked a few people in my time here on YouTube. And it takes a lot for me to block someone. There were people that were actually creating, I knew it was the same, I think it was the same 1 or 2 people that were creating like new shell accounts, like just to harass and troll me. And I figured out like who it was and what they were doing. And I would just block their accounts because that's all it was. But outside of that, people, I do not block you. So all these people over this last week that are like, why are you deleting my comments? Censorship at its finest. Like, F you, I'm like, I'm not even deleting this comment. Beat that, beat, journo this, journo that. I'm leaving it up. Sorry, sir or ma'am. I still didn't delete your comment. I went and checked YouTube hold in the comments. There was nothing held. There was nothing held for review to be inappropriate. So I said, look, here's the thing. I don't know if YouTube is doing something on their end and you are being vulgar and it's not being held and it's just being deleted. I have no control over that. Another thing that I might assume that could be happening is I've noticed lately I'll go into, it's happened on other people's channels that I've commented on, and it's happened in my comments. Like, you know how you go, like somebody left a comment. There was one comment where somebody commented and I commented and somebody else commented. It said 2 replies, but you due to the drop down and that second reply never showed up. I don't know why. There could very well be a YouTube glitch going on right now as well, where for some reason, certain people aren't seeing certain comments. And I can't do anything about that. Thank you, Lee, for believing me. L Green. It is L. But, you know, I do want to make it clear that I am not deleting anybody's comments. I want to see what Tom has to say. What's going on, Tom? On a number of occasions, I made plain vanilla YouTube comments that never appear online after I posted them. One on this channel, several on other channels devoted to other topics. YouTube glitch me thinks. I think so too. It's gotta be. It has to be. Tony says it happened in one of my comments as well. Absolutely. Rashawn, sure. Yeah, for sure. You know, I really think it is that. So look, I want to give these people the benefit of the doubt. Because if I posted a comment and didn't see it, I might assume somebody's deleting my comments, right? But I would encourage everyone not to assume. Like, come hit me up. I always say this. My door is always open. Let's talk. Always open. You can email me, private message me on Instagram, leave another comment, and don't be rude and don't jump to conclusion, but say, hey, what happened to my comment? Did you delete it? Or you know what else I do? You know what else I do? That's a good tip for you all, especially if you're writing a long comment. Before you click send, copy it, copy and paste it, and like email it to yourself. Because you know what, another thing that happens a lot when I'm responding to comments, I'll type something up and click send, and it like loads and loads and loads and never goes, and then I lose it. So that's another tip for everyone too. I know for a fact the comments I have made that were innocent were blocked. Well, maybe, Lee, but that's not happening here. I mean, a YouTuber can delete or flag any comment that they like, even if you're saying thanks for the video, right? But I have never done that on my channel. Yep, buddy, I do believe the algorithms are caught up into it as well. PQ, I get censored all the time. YouTube hates me. I have my own opinions on YouTube. I was planning on doing a show tonight based on my YouTube issues or based on my issues going on with whatnot right now. But I decided to address this as well, or address this week. Yeah, so here's the thing. Here's what I want everyone to know. Again, it's going to take a lot for me to delete somebody's comment. A lot, like I said. Unless you're saying like you are literally threatening somebody's life. Well, even your own. Well, I might report that to somebody else, but that is the only time I will block you. So come at me all you want. You can agree with me. You can disagree with me. We can have a humble discussion, which I hope we do. But you can come at me all nasty as you want, but be prepared for me to, respond back, because I will. I will gladly respond back. And then you know what I'll do? I'll gladly invite you on my show. So if there's anybody here now watching that is still arguing against me regarding the New York Comic-Con stuff and you were there, let me know. Let's talk about it. Even if you are the individuals that were coming at me, calling me names, trying to assassinate my character, I will put the humble on I'll shoot you the link and you can come on right now. No spin. I mean that. Because I'll use this example again, because I love using this example, and I've said this before. I used to be involved in local Facebook groups. I was going to run for city council. Was very active in my community. And I would get people literally hitting up my inbox, private messaging me on YouTube, on Facebook, threatening me. Literally threatening me. Now, I could go two ways with this because I don't think people understand. Well, first off, you don't know anybody that sits, you're sitting behind a screen. Don't test anybody that you don't know. But secondly, I love to kill it with kindness. So I remember the one time that the certain individual came in my inbox on Facebook, dropping every nasty name in the book. And then I called him. I Facebook called him. We talked on the phone for like over an hour. And before we hung up, he was inviting me to his daughter's birthday party. Jumpers and all. Jump houses and all. That is a true story. This dude was threatening me. All right, let's go. Let's throw down. I'll see you in person. Let's do it. P word, Little over an hour later, after on the phone. Oh man, yeah. Well, so I'm throwing my daughter's birthday next weekend. You come. We're barbecuing, jump houses, bring the kids. No lie. That's how I do it. Thank you, Lee. Appreciate you being here. So again, I'm telling you guys, like, I don't hold grudges like that. I am willing to give everyone the benefit of the doubt, and I'm willing to forgive. Like, and there's been some issues with some other individuals in this community right now when I try to reach out to them humbly and respectfully, man to man, and they shut that door and acted, in a way that obviously doesn't solve anything. Like, even for those individuals, my door is always open. Always. But I am, I don't want to say proud, that's the wrong word, but I do pride myself on being able to lead the ball in other people's courts. It's in your court. The individual that was coming at me today saying, I ain't even going to go into it, but if you're watching, maybe you're watching live, maybe you're watching on the replay, hit me up. You guys that watch me, you got to know me by now. Yes, I'm passionate. Yes, I'm vocal. And that means sometimes I get loud, even when I don't necessarily mean to get loud. But you should also know that I don't want to say more than anyone, but I encourage the challenge. I encourage the opposing viewpoints. Anyone who thinks differently is either not listening, or maybe, and again, I'm not trying to assume, but maybe it's you that doesn't want to hear the different opinion. Maybe it's you that's not willing to let go of your biases or prejudices, whatever you want to call it, and find a middle ground, because that's all that I'm asking for. I'm never asking for anybody to swing sides, because I always say the truth isn't on this side or that side. It's always in the middle. Always. And that is what I encourage out of all of you. That's what I continue to do and try to do for myself on my channel, and what I encourage all of my viewers to do, not just when we're sitting here talking in a live stream, or when you're watching my videos and leaving comments, or when you're watching somebody else's videos and leaving comments. That's for you to do for yourself, to challenge yourself, and it's for you to take out into the world in any arena. It doesn't matter if we're talking comic books, politics, religion, sports. I don't care. That's what I encourage you all to do. Hello from Ireland, Biddy Love. Comics Corp Promotions. I think I missed you. Oh, let's see. I missed your question. Can you type it again? I would love to answer your question. Comics Corp. Comics Corp Promotions. Comics Corporation. Yeah, I apologize. I don't see a question from you. Oh, maybe I do here. Okay, I think I got it. If someone has a business tax ID, pays federal and state retail tax, and receive books directly from a distributor in a retailer, what do you call someone who has none of that and sells books? Okay, let me read this again. You have somebody that has a business ID, a tax ID, right? You pay taxes as a business entity, right? You get books directly from a distributor. So, okay, so you're calling them a retailer. Is that what you're saying? So first off, okay, if I'm getting this right, Comics Corp, you don't just call, it's not just a retailer. You can call them a dealer. Or an online retailer, right? But there could be people that do this that don't even have an actual point of retail, point of sale retail, either virtual or, brick and mortar. It could simply be like cons. So, you don't even, I mean, technically you're right. Yeah, retailer, but a dealer because, they're dealing in books. But then dealer, you don't have to be a retailer, right? Because anybody, like you said here, that, simply sells books, they could go buy table space from a con and they could be a dealer as well. So I think that term dealer is universal. You could call a retailer a dealer. You could call somebody that just, sorry, I have like a hair. Bloopers, live bloopers. Somebody that sells no matter their, tax filing is going to be a dealer, in my humble opinion. Whether they're buying to flip for the short term, holding long term, they're a dealer. They deal comic books. So I hope that answers your question. Steve-O, me, a flipper. And here we go. So this goes back to what I was saying earlier in the show. Labels. A flipper, first off, flippers become such a dirty word right now because of our prejudices. Our prejudicial biases to somebody that does what we think a flipper does. So now anybody that sells books, oh, those dirty flippers, it's prejudice. Just because I started selling comics, now I'm a dirty flipper. I've been accused of that. I've been selling comics for not even a year now. But although I've been expressing wanting to own my own comic book shop for 10 years, now I'm a dirty flipper just because I started selling comics. So again, I don't like these words because unfortunately they've turned into buzzwords. Just like influencer, it's a buzzword. It's prejudice. Anything that we don't like, or anybody that has a YouTube channel is an influencer. When in reality, the definition of that word really means anybody that influences somebody else. So now we just use it to push our prejudices. So even calling somebody that doesn't have tax ID, they're not a retailer, they're not just a flipper. And when you look at the actual textbook definition of the term flipper, that to me points to more of that short-term flip. Somebody that is in it to buy low and sell high for the short term. They're not too concerned with building necessarily this large inventory. So again, it's all how you look at it. Flipper in the proper context can work, but it sucks because we made it such a dirty word, right? Black market seller. I want to open a brick and mortar so bad. Selling online, I'm going to tell you, man, like in this day and age, selling online, it can help you get to that brick and mortar because you don't have all the overhead. I got 25,000 books in this room. I got at least a good few thousand for sale. And then I'm pulling more and more out of my PC to sell. So, you know, I could go get an account with Diamond or whatever or Penguin, go get a business loan, you know, put a deposit in on a space to rent. I could bring my few thousand books that I have to sell, stock up back issues, and I could start getting new, you know, weekly new comics in with my accounts with the distributors. And maybe I you know, buy some toys and whatever. I wouldn't even risk doing that right now. I would not even risk doing that because of the overhead in the state of the economy and all that. Absolutely not. I would rather sit here and, you know, do claim sales, sell on whatnot and let them take all their fees, post on eBay, let them take all their fees, and keep trying to build my inventory, keep trying to build my brand. Hey, I would even put money to buy a booth at a con next to having rent for a brick and mortar. There's so much that I am trying to do because I am right now that's pushing me to get hopefully closer to where I could say, now it's time to maybe get out a business loan, get that deposit in on a rental space and do the brick and mortar. I really don't, unless you have crazy disposable income sitting aside. Maybe you're older and, you know, you got a pension, you got 401k, and maybe you're retired or partially retired. Maybe you're just working part-time now in the field that you've been working in, and you have money to fall back on to invest in something like that, and you're willing to take the risk. All right, go ahead. But if you're thinking that right now in this state of economy, especially if you don't got the funds sitting, I don't know what kind of inventory you may already have. You got to go out and find your inventory. Going and getting a brick and mortar is the most riskiest thing you could do. And so that's why I am nowhere near close to that point, even though I would love to get there one day. Reseller. Yes, buddy. Thank you. That's again. Yep. Reseller is an individual that purchases goods or service with the intention of selling them rather than consuming or using them. Perfect. Right. Yep. Dealer's a good one. You can use flipper in the proper context, but buddy hit the nail on the head. Reseller. Steve has very poor computer skills. It's all good. Hey, Steve-O, I was so late. You know, and I was younger too. I didn't get my first smartphone until 2012. And I had that same smartphone for like 3 years and it was crappy as hell. Dale, if you don't like Flipper, use Dealer. If you don't like Dealer, say you're a seller of comics. I hear you, Dale. Because all these labels have come into this, you know, prejudicial way of putting people in boxes and painting them dirty or painting them holier than thou, like true collector, right? Like we have labels that discriminate, and then we have labels that propagate, you know, trying to over sensationalize the righteousness of certain individuals. That's why, going back to this whole New York Comic Con incident, it's like, oh man, that's why we need to get rid of whatnotters and influencers and resellers, because it's all about the true collector. So you're propagating and sensationalizing what true collector means, and then being prejudiced against anything that it doesn't fit into that box. In both, they're wrong, because again, it comes down to being a decent human being. People who would consider themselves true collectors were fighting for that line to get those 10 Peach Momoko signatures and, you know, yelling and screaming and going and screaming in Peach's face, while exhibitors were taking advantage and you know, like, oh, I'm going to send my, you know, hey, you go get your 10, you go get your 10. We're going to bring these back to our whatnot, sell them, whatever. Sure, fine, whatever. Everyone tries to take advantage no matter what label you throw upon others or yourself. GT Comics. This is a great question. Can you make a living as a comic book channel YouTuber? All right, guys, who's ready for some honest truth? Who's ready for some honest truth? I'm going to answer this question. I'm going to, you know who's making a living? Gem Mint. Gem Mint is making a living off of being a YouTube content creator. He, you know, and power to him because he's built his channel up. And, you know, he's got the 150 subs now. He gets the views. And, you know, he's making good money. Good. And if I do recall, I do believe he ended up quitting because I know for a time there he was still working, doing his YouTube. But I do believe he quit that. But, you know, I mean, he does other stuff too. I know he's kind of a reseller and flipper. There's that word flipper, but not in a dirty term, of statues. You know, I believe, and don't quote me on this, but he has a way, and, you know, he's been one of the champions of making the hobby pay for itself, right? So, you know, I know that he works different things to bring in revenue, but if you want to look at a channel that's solid, that's relevant to comic books and pop culture, he's the guy, obviously. And then, you know, you got other individuals like Comic Tom or like Very Gary is another one that have a solid following that I'm sure generate amazing ad revenue. But, you know, like Tom has his brand. You know, he sells on whatnot. He has his mystery box. He works with Mill Geek Comics. And then Very Gary obviously is a huge reseller and dealer. So, you know, and look, I've always said this, and this isn't in a negative thing, but it's just the God honest truth. If you are pushing your resale business and you got money invested into that and you got keys, that's going to drive your YouTube to be more successful. If you are showing off unboxing of CGC unboxings with big keys coming in that aren't even yours, they're there to bring in revenue for your business, but you're doing a video on it and you're getting 10,000 views on it, you know, and you're making over $100 on that video, you're making money because of, it's like the chicken or the egg, you know, it's like that's helping you, but then yet your YouTube channel is helping you get exposure for your business. So it's a good symbiotic relationship, right? So that's why I said, you know, before 10 months ago, I built my channel without that. Again, I'm not knocking those that do it. I want to get there. I want to be that. I want to incorporate both. I want to get exposure for me as a seller. And, you know, hopefully me as a seller could bring in more subscribers and viewers to my channel as well. I want that. But these people built their stuff off of that. That's solid. So they're making good money off of YouTube, but they also have other revenue streams because they are dealers in some form or fashion, or like I think it was Buddy that was saying earlier, a reseller of some form or fashion. So if you look at, you know, can you make a living off of YouTube? You can utilize YouTube as one stream of revenue. If you look at me, I've really based my revenue off of simply YouTube. Now, I'm not as big as Very Gary, Comic Tom, Gem Mint, any of them. But for my decent size following, I make a little bit of money, but it's not enough to live off of. I keep in mind, I have 2 children. You know, I live in California. So I do, and this is why I offer my Patreon membership to give perks to those members. I offer my YouTube membership, which brings in a little more money. I do take sponsorships, and I'm very transparent about that. I've declined many opportunities to have even more sponsorships, but I don't just take anybody that says, hey, Journo, you know, we'll pay you to do this and push this brand. I can't do it if I don't If I don't feel that I'm genuine, if I don't believe in the product, if it's not something I can back, I don't do it. So I do have a little money coming in from a couple sponsors. Then you get your ad revenue, right? And then I got my Patreon and my memberships. So it's a good little chunk of money right now that's allowed me to still only work part-time as an educator. Now, I recently just took another part-time job as a assistant sports director, which is only a couple more hours a day in that role. I do my part-time educator position, then I go and stay until the afternoon doing my couple of hours as a assistant sports director at the same school. And then I come home and I film videos, I edit videos, I do live streams, I do this and that. But then I've also added selling comics, which, I've had some keys. I came across some solid collections, but I'm not very Gary out here with his 9.8 slabs all day, right? I don't have that overhead yet to really, cycle through and keep getting good inventory of good books like Nerdy Girl. I mean, she's the cream of the crop. But even like Skeleton Keys, they have set themselves up to a plateau to where they could get keys in, they get enough money, they pay their bills, they live off it, but they have enough profit left over that they put back into the inventory, and then they bring more key books in, and that's just like an LCS does. That's how you stay afloat. I don't have that yet with the comics. So for me right now, if you look at where I'm at, 12 point whatever thousand subscribers, I get a little, I mean, my Patreon members, I have a select little handful of members. I encourage anyone to, join if you want to. Cancel at any time. But, it's a little bit of money a month, little bit. Usually what I do with that money, it goes back into my channel some way. And then same with YouTube memberships. It's only $2 a month. So I get like, maybe $40 a month more there. I could not do this full time at all with what I'm doing. Even with what I'm doing right now, working part-time, I'm at a crossroads right now. And this is where I'm being completely honest with you guys. It's tough. It's a struggle. And I'm really sitting here. I've already, I was making content 7 days a week. And I was burnt out and I had to pull back. So now you probably see me doing content 5 days a week. I got to give myself a day off here and there. I'm giving myself to next summer. It's the end of this school year that I'm working to say, what do I want to do as an educator in a career? And I'm given this time to see what I could do with my YouTube over this next, 8 months or so. And if I don't keep pushing, I'm never going to not be journos, folks. I will always be here doing my channel, but I just might have to scale it back a little more, because at that point in time, I got to make a decision for myself, for my family, to say, I need retirement. I need 401k. I need to work full time in my career. I would love this to be my career for right now. I'm just not there yet. We'll see. And then there are complications with battling the algorithms. And I've talked about this before. YouTube is heartless, man, and you can't get to a human being. You can't. I believe it was Tom that had his channel demonetized. I didn't know the details, but I know he was pushing it a few months back, saying something happened. They got demonetized. He couldn't get a hold of anybody that worked for Google. Google owns YouTube. And I can't imagine being a channel of 50,000 subscribers and all the work that I put in. I mean, I can't imagine it right now with 12,000 subscribers. With 50,000, you put in all that work every week. And, regardless if you like Tom or not, that's besides the point. If you like his channel or not. He put in that work. He's working hard. And now they're saying, nope, we're not giving you your money. With no explanation. Wow. Can you believe that? That's like, can you imagine? Can you imagine you go into a job, you work for a company. I basically work for YouTube. I work for Google. Why? Because I'm sitting here working my butt off, earning them money, and they pay me, right? When you work at Starbucks, you make coffees, warm up biscuits and truffles and everything. You make them money. You make them millions and billions of dollars, and they give you a paycheck for $15 an hour, whatever. Every company, you go, you work, You make them money, they pay you. I'm making Google, YouTube, big money because of advertisers paying them to run their ads on my videos. And then they give me a little bit of that and they pay me. Can you imagine going into work one day and saying, hey, keep doing your work, but we're not paying you anymore? Okay. Now imagine, it's even different because at least in that scenario, you can say, all right, peace. I'm going to go apply for some other jobs. We built this as YouTubers. We built this. We can't just walk away from this. I can't walk away from 12.2 thousand subscribers and go fill out a resume to another company and say, okay, you're hired. Here you are with your 12.2 thousand subscribers and fan base and everything that generates your revenue. Nope. I got to start from scratch. That's a very, very scary thing. So I worry about that all the time, but the YouTube algorithms are ridiculous, and I'm going through it right now. And I've hinted at this and brought this up here and there, but I thought about doing a full-on like live stream talking about it, but I don't even know if it's worth it. But I'm getting screwed right now by the U to the oob in many ways. In many ways. All right, let's check out some comments. Most people, Brandon, what's going on, by the way, Brandon? Most people I see saying they hate flippers are people that flip comics. You guys are, must be dehydrated. Most people I see saying that they hate flippers are people that flip comics. They are mad. I believe you meant mad, Brandon. They are mad because some people hustled hard and got to where they are by hard work. Look, this ain't all of you. There are people out there that are really, you know, I do believe they have good intent. And when they're outraged by flippers and all this, and look, I understand your frustrations. There's greed out there. I mean, look at what happened with C2E2. And I'm not even talking about the people going up with buying short boxes of the book. I'm talking about how Black Flag acted and how they really thought that it was okay to, I'm going to have another line for influencers and a separate line. And they could grab as many books as they want or whatever. And I'll have a normal line for normal people. And you guys can only get one or whatever it was. I mean, look, man, it exists. But Brandon, I've been saying this. Most of the people that are outraged by flippers and the influencers are people that are flipping themselves. And they can sit here and they can lie and they can perpetrate and fake the funk. But they're sitting here doing the same damn thing. Same thing. 1 minute they're posting, they're taking screenshots of Nerdy Girl and Comic Tom and putting little clown emojis on them saying dirty flipper, con man Tom and all this stuff. And then the next day they're doing a freaking claim sale. It's hilarious. And then, oh, what's the excuse? Oh, well, I'm not a dirty I'm ethical, or I care about the community. And then the next day they're posting their 10 copies of that hot spec book. Oh, just showing off. Just showing off my, 10, Mephisto comics that I just found in dollar bins that you're going to go flip for big money. Brandon, it's a fact of the matter that there is a large portion of these people out there, and a large portion of them that are vocal, and that's why I call it the pitchfork crowd. And I don't want to sum everyone up into that. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings or offend anybody here. But I'm sorry, man. For as many of you that truly believe that you're doing this with good intent, there are just as many, if not more, that are exactly what Brandon is talking about. Straight up. I'm not adding sugar to this. Ain't no 12 grams of added sugar. This is fresh fruit right here, man. This is facts. People fake the funk. It's plaguing our society, to be quite honest. Steven, an influencer, someone that has millions of subs and followers, throwing the road around to sub 100 to sub 100K, meaning lower than 100K. Niche comic channels is like berating a small business when there's a superstore in comparison. Very good analogy, Steven. I love it. I love it. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for that. I mean, I could break that down a lot more still, but yep. Awesome, buddy. Yeah. You know, you work your normal job, but, you know, you're doing some reselling. And you want to open up a shop after retirement. That's awesome, buddy. Whereabouts, if you don't mind me asking? Anthony, nothing wrong selling comics that you may not want anymore, especially where you have way too many. Yep, and that's the point I hit. That's taking up space. I sold 40 comics in a total of $100 each. Nice. That's solid. Steven, me and my buddies were all true collectors until the day I got a booth. Oh, I gotta highlight this. Steven! Me and my buddies were all true collectors until the day I got a booth at a local con and suddenly I was a trader. Isn't that how it works, Steven? I'm so sorry. Yeah, Jem was in the statue business before the YouTube. Yeah, I don't know all the details. I mean, I just the things I brought up were kind of like the surface things that I was aware of. You know what? Here's the thing, and Tony, I know I went in on the whole steroids thing, but I hear you, Tony. It's as long as it sucks because Dusty Baker is a great manager. He's a great guy, or seems like a great guy. You know, I don't know him personally. And I love seeing him managing still. And, you know, they got some good players. But as long as some of those players that were on those teams that cheated are still there, it's very hard for me to take them seriously. I know Yankees are down 2-0, man. I hope they come back. I hope they come back because, like I said, I love Dusty, but I just wish he never went to the Astros. It's just a bad taste in my mouth for sure. Reggie's another one, Simon, yep, that I was talking about a little while back. I'm just trying to get caught up on these comments. Oh, I like that idea, Steve-O, about a station on Sirius radio, satellite radio. That would be like 24/7 comic book pop culture stuff. That would be interesting. I don't know if it would have a big enough market for Sirius, but I mean, shoot, man. I mean, look, AM radio still exists, right? So why not? We could do it. Jeff Co. Yeah, I'm not even gonna read that comment. That's just not needed here. It's not needed at all. No disrespect, Jeff Co. You know, just we're not doing that here. I'm not, you know, knocking whatever opinions you may have, but it's just not the place. Educator, Steven. Yes, I am an educator. Yep, man, 25 second graders in the classroom. And then I do intervention with first and second graders as well. Pop culture studies. Dope. Eritzan. What's going on? Artisan. You're a superintendent. That would be nice. That would be amazing. If I could be a superintendent of a school district one day. Yes, Simon, I am. I am absolutely, guys. I'm going to pick up the CGC's Guide to Grading Comics. I don't, you know, I watched a little bit of the interview. Who had him on? Reggie, Matt, whatever his name is. with CGC. I'm going to get it because I need to know. And then I'll do a video about it. Let's see how transparent they got. All right, Lyric. Let's see what Lyric's saying. Always love Lyric's input here. A flipper that is somebody that buys something and turns around and sells it right away. A reseller is someone who hangs on and decides to sell later in life. I'm a collector who may become a reseller. Lyric, I like your definitions. Keep in mind, though, all of these definitions, they're kind of like comic book appearance labels. They're not set in stone, right? But again, I like this because it's not prejudicial. We're not being prejudiced. He's trying to actually define what it means to flip comics, what it means to resell comics. I think a reseller does all of those things. A reseller has inventory that some of it is meant to be moved sooner than later. Some of it can be held onto, et cetera, just like an LCS store. I mean, obviously, the intent of a reseller or a dealer is to move it right away unless you hold, thinking that it's going to bring you higher future value than current, right? But for the most part, you get inventory in, you want to start selling so you can make your money back. If you are not cheating, you're not trying. Brandon, just because you said this, it's your with apostrophe R-E, not your. That's right. I called you out on it. I'm just giving you crap because I know you're giving us crap. Yeah, at the Brandon, you just addressed what I just said. Brandon just addressed what I just said. Anybody that has inventory, think of it like this. Starbucks is a flipper of coffee and pastries. A car dealership is a flipper of cars, right? Because any company that gets inventory in, you got overhead. You want to sell inventory. So it's a little more, it's not as black and white, Lyric, I think, as you did put it. Flipping comics is a business, period. Flipping comics is a business, period. It doesn't matter if you have a tax ID. It doesn't matter if you have a brick and mortar, if you have a website, if you sell and whatnot. If you flip comics on the street corner, you are a business. Especially if you hit $600 and you're selling online or through PayPal and you're getting those 1099s now. You're a business, and your tax ID then becomes your social security number, and the IRS sees you as a business entity, even at just $600 a year. They got you. The only way you're not a business, I guess, if you're taking cash under the table. Who's not recognizing them as a business? Prejudicial individuals that want to say, oh, you're a flipper. If somebody is flipping comics, where are they selling them? At a con, on whatnot, on IG, on YouTube claim sales, on Facebook Marketplace, Facebook groups? How are they taking payments? Via Venmo, Cash App, PayPal? Because if they are, if you hit $600, you're getting $10.99 and you are a business. Period. That is not true. That's not true. The IRS immediately, if you are 1099 in any capacity, you don't need a tax ID because your social security number becomes your tax ID. You only need a tax ID technically when you set yourself up as a sole proprietorship or an LLC or a partnership, etc., etc. So technically, if you are 1099 and you never set up a tax ID, Your social security number is now your tax ID. Right. And then there's this. And then there's this. Brandon Metro says, at what point is it simply selling and not flipping? 6 months? Like, yeah. Where's the time frame? Because let me give you all an example. I have what book? Okay, I've been stockpiling. And I usually don't do this, guys. I don't go after books and buy, especially like modern new releases. Like, I don't spec on new releases really at all. But I've been going after rogue books. I have like multiple copies of different rogue keys. Why did I buy them? Because as soon as we get a rogue announcement in the MCU or a trailer or a casting, what am I doing? I'm flipping them. But how long have I been holding them? I've had most of them for over a year, 2 years. So am I not flipping now simply because I was ahead of the curve and I knew this was going to come and I bought it years before I could flip them? I'm still flipping those comics for profit, even though I've held them for a year or two. I have 30 copies of Warlock and the Infinity Watch. And although my intent wasn't to necessarily flip, I know that if we get an Infinity Watch or an Infinity Watch storyline in the MCU, I might go and sell a few of those books. But I've had them for years. Is it not flipping then? I would argue it is. There's the short-term flip and the long-term flip, and it's still flipping. Larry, nobody is the same because it's not a carbon copy. Business is, being a business can come in many different forms. Obviously, somebody that is a dealer, an online dealer, or an online retail is still very different than a brick and mortar. But they are a business. Anybody that simply sells on Whatnot or IG live sales or maybe tables at a con is very different than a brick and mortar, but they are still a business. So respectfully, I don't know what you're trying to argue here. An M&M is still an M&M if it's in an M&M bag, but you can't sit and say, well, this one's brown and this one's blue or this one's red, and then yell at me for saying, but they're all M&Ms. I know that they're different colors. They're different. We are all business entities. Sky, thank you. Oh, man. Lake Jota? Is it Yota or Jota? How you say the J? You're later like an any. I love that you teach and that you're a true artist. Your channel is a fave, and I always look forward to the next vid. Thank you. I really do appreciate that. I like this. It's the intent. I like this lyric. I think when you look at intent, that plays a role. I could get behind that. But again, I wouldn't be so black and white with it, right? Goo Rhythm, what's going on? Yeah, comic duder. I hear you. I think this boils down to ethics, right? And I talked about this on my channel. Look, if there's a hot spec book new release, right, and somebody with the intent to flip them for profit goes in, stands in line at their LCS on New Comic Book Wednesday, and the door opens and they run to the shelf and they grab all, like, say there's like 15 copies, 20 copies, and they grab them all and they go up and buy them. Then they go home and they put them on eBay or they go sell them on Whatnot. Would I do that? No. Would I grab maybe a couple copies or a few copies? Sure, why not? I would never grab all the copies like that. But if the LCS isn't setting limits, they're not breaking any rules. They're not. And this is why I say I'm not even going to say an LCS would be breaking rules if they know that when that book came out and that resellers are already trying to grab 20 copies off of a shelf of an LCS and they're already flipping them on eBay for $20, $30 on the day they released, then why can't the LCS owner take a few copies, send them in the back, and put a $20 sticker on them? Say maybe first copy at cover price, you want a second one, $20. I can't say that's wrong. Not saying I would do that. I wouldn't go and raid their shelf of all the copies just to flip. Ethically, I wouldn't do that. I'm not saying as an LCS owner that I would grab my copies and upcharge them either. But, you know, you want to be mad at one or the other, or do you want to do something to combat people from acting like this? Because I'll tell you what, if an LCS owner did that and said only one at cover price and the other ones are $20, those flippers aren't going to have the opportunity to go buy 20 off the shelf, not leave anyone for anyone else, and then go sell them on eBay. Why the comic book shop owner is getting screwed because he sold them at cover price to that one flipper, one person wanted to flip them, and now he's making the big bucks selling them on eBay, and the LCS owner is making, you know what, pennies on the dollar of what he paid for it. Reselling is a business. Reselling is a business. Yep. Just fact, clear, clean cut fact. $600 or more, your 1099, social security number is your tax ID, business entity. Paying taxes. Thank you, Biddy. Biddy Love. Harlot. Flipping is, first off, Holy Harlot, let me clarify. I don't box things into these definitions as a whole, first and foremost. I don't pertain to these boxes. So I don't even like the word flipper. But yes, the majority of people flipping do have, like Laird did say, it's the intent of that short-term flip. Yes. So we can look at it, but that's why I said, but it's still not that black or white. You see what I'm saying? And what did I just say about 15 minutes ago? These are not definitions that are written in stone. They are subjected to how we want to define them. And that's fine as long as we're not using them as prejudicial, labels. Lyric, I don't know what you mean by this question. Can you elaborate? If you want to buy a house, how would you prove your business? I don't understand what you're saying here. Are you talking about maybe like stating your income? Is that what you're trying to imply? If they want to know your income to like say to get a mortgage loan or something, I don't really understand. Please add context. I saw videos of you buying collections. I like to sell pieces of my collections, but I don't want to deal with eBay or whatnot. Can I contact you to buy my books? Yes, you can. Yes, you can, Stephen. Absolutely. Contact me. I'm always very transparent. And we'll talk. And if we don't work anything out, I'm always happy to give advice and tips on what you might be able to do. And that's just the God honest truth. Shoot me a PM on Instagram if you're on Instagram, or send me an email at Captain Journo Comics. That's Journo with no S, Captain Journo Comics at gmail.com. I would be happy to discuss with you for sure. Prove your income. So you would say, so if you don't have like an LLC or an actual fictitious business name filed, all you need to do is put self-employed. That's all you need to do is put self-employed. You would put your, like, I could technically put Journos, Comics, and Pop Culture, but I don't own the fictitious rights to that name. So I have to put my name, my legal name. And I report my earnings from wherever they come, all of my 1099s. I report all of my 1099s when I pay taxes every year. YouTube, Google AdSense is how I get paid from YouTube. That's a 1099. Patreon, that's a 1099. Anything coming in through PayPal, that's a 1099. Whatnot, that's a 1099. eBay, that's a 1099. And I pay taxes on all of them. I am a business entity. I am a business entity making videos on YouTube. It's a business because I pay taxes as a business. I will rock. I love hats. I love matching the fits. I'm not actually matching too well today. But hit me up. Hit me up on IG or email me captainjournalcomics@gmail.com and we'll talk. I have no idea what you're talking about, Larry. No one would accept. You mean accept? No one would accept your direct deposit is proof of income without a business ID and name, period. First, I don't. Oh my God. Okay, Larry, I love you, man. And I know we got into it before, but you're driving me nuts. You're driving me nuts, dude. You're driving me nuts. Like, you're being a bit hard-headed here. I don't know, like, what you're trying to argue, and you're beating a dead horse. If you get 1099'd, you are a business. I do not have a tax ID, but I get about 6 plus 1099s every year that I pay taxes on. That's how I report my income. I know because I was on unemployment during COVID. For one, that's just one example. I was laid off from my educator position and I qualified for unemployment, but I still earn money from my YouTube. And I had to report my business earnings to EDD. How do I do that? Social Security number. My Social Security number is my tax ID. I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm sorry, but I don't. Mark's hanging out. Don's hanging out. Would you start with the higher or lower graded copies? SD Dodger, not sure what you're asking. You can elaborate. Let's see what Mark has to say, because Mark always has great insight. Flipping is a term used to describe purchasing a revenue-generating asset and quickly reselling it for profit. I don't think selling comics that have sat in your collection and gets hot is bad. Okay, thank you, Mark. So let me ask you specifically, Mark. If it's say it's 2020, and we know that the X-Men are coming, right? In the MCU. We don't know for sure. It could be a year, it could be 2 years, it could be 4 years, but automatically I'm buying multiple copies, like multiple copies. I got 10 Avengers Annual 10s. I got 10 of her second appearances, 10 of her, she joins the X-Men. I got stacks of stacks because I'm going to sell these as soon as an announcement come out. Would you consider that any form of flipping? Would you use the label, flipping for profit? Knowing that I'm stacking these books and I'm going to sell them immediately when we get that type of announcement or casting. I would love to hear your thoughts on that. Again, Larrick, I like your take. Like I said before, I do think time has something to do with it, but I just don't think it's black or white. You doing both of these things, you're still a reseller. If you flip comics, you're still a reseller because you bought it with the intent to resell, no matter if you want to resell it tomorrow or a year later. It's not that black or white. And again, you're saying Mark exactly, but Mark never said that a flipper is not a reseller. And Mark, I would love your insight on that. Just because you flip comics for the short term doesn't negate the fact that you are still a reseller. Anybody that buys something with the intent to resell it is a reseller, no matter the time frame. Flipper, that definition and label may have to do more with time frame, and that makes sense. All right, I got to get caught up on these comments, guys. I appreciate you guys sticking around and allowing me to get caught up. I think we're having some great conversations here. Devil Creep Cheapskate. If you're not flipping to fund the hobby, you're doing it wrong. That includes new books and all those long boxes of dead spec. Why do you say this, Devil Creep? Because I don't agree. But I would like to hear more context because maybe I'm just not agreeing with the fact that I don't have all the context. Why does one need to flip to fund the hobby? Maybe one wants to flip just to flip to put extra money in their pocket. Maybe they have enough money to buy their books and not worry about funding the hobby with it. Or maybe they're really budgeted and flipping is a way to generate income that they pay bills with. Why does it have to be one way or you're doing it wrong? Really honest question there. Turners and burners. Yes. When you sell and get 1099, it also means paying taxes. Yes. That's what you have to report to the IRS. What percentage? It depends how much money you make, and it depends, there's state taxes and then there's federal taxes. So that all depends on where you live, but it depends on how much money you make. Like the low bracket is 15%. There's higher brackets where they take more. It all depends. I agree with this. I agree with this hands down. Oh, look, you're not selling those books a year from now. You're turning around fast, so you're a dirty flipper and you're ruining comic books, right? That's not fair. Yep. Another fact. Another fact. Pretty much, Harlan, I agree. I mean, the only way you can kind of get around that is if it's under the table and you're not paying taxes. I mean, you're still a businessman, though. You're still handling business. And that's a fact, too. Lots of facts. You guys are dropping some facts here. All right, trying to get caught up. If you make a profit, just buy some supplies before the end of the year. Or some comics. Mark, M-A-R-C, Mark. Dropping in, you are correct. You can use your social security number and operate as self-employed, but beware. Liability will follow you personally. Very true. Very true. That's why they have LLCs, because of liability, and the laws are very, very protected. That's why, like sole proprietorships are very important. And, if you are bringing in enough money, and depending on the business that you're dealing in, you should really think about getting LLC. I'm not there yet. I mean, I'm a YouTuber that sells a few books on whatnot or the internet, so there's no reason for me to do that yet. But, anything that I need to get protected with is protected through PayPal buyer's insurance or whatnot insurance. So I'm not doing anything to where I need to, file for an LLC and worry about, any type of protection or liability whatsoever at this point. Yep, and then there is the what you would call the triple taxation, which we're not going to get into tonight, but that's just, it's crazy, man. Like they say, man, taxation is theft. And what makes it worse, and not to get political, I mean, look, I don't care if you vote Republican, you vote Democrat, you vote independent, you don't vote at all. Anybody pushing for more taxes, like, I don't care who you vote for, especially on the state level or the federal level. Maybe on the city or county level, taxes, fine. You got to stop falling for the okie doke, folks. Republicans, Democrats asking for more taxes, stop it. I've been alive for many decades now, and we keep giving them more taxes. Oh, we need it for the roads. We need a gas tax for the roads, or we need this tax for the school, or we need this tax for this. It don't go there, people. It don't go there. It goes into people's pockets. It goes to special interests, and it don't matter who you vote for or what color you rep, red, blue, elephant, donkey. It don't matter. No more taxes. No more new taxes until they start actually putting the taxes to where they belong. Unless we're talking about income tax. That's a whole other conversation. That's a whole other conversation we're not getting into. Oh, Lyric, you're saying this again. This is verbatim. Let's just end it. Let's end it. I think you said this exact same thing on one of my other shows, Lyric. I'm not laughing at you. I'm riding with you. I'm riding with you. No, seriously though, I would never laugh at anybody like that. You guys are entertaining me. It's fun. I appreciate it. Oh, this is a great question. Well, SD Dodger, if you have multiple copies of different grades of a book, which do you sell first to maximize return? Well, it depends on if you're trying to sell every copy. It depends on, why would you try to sell one first? Why not sell them all? I mean, if it's me and I'm only selling on whatnot, if it's a hot book, I'll put my prices out there for buy it now. Near mint copy, $100, very fine copy, $80, whatever it may be. But if I'm keeping one for my collection, I might actually keep the higher grade and sell the lower grade because I want to keep the higher grade in my collection. Or if I really need money, I might be happy with the lower grade and just want the book, and I'll sell the higher grade because I want to make more money off of it. What I wouldn't do is this. Here's a tip for you guys. Say you're in a Whatnot live sale. It's an auction, right? You have two, key books, key hot books. I would sell the lower grade first. I would auction off the lower grade first. Why? Because if you auction off the higher grade first and somebody wins that, it may repel them from bidding on the lower grade book. But if you sell the lower grade book, there's still that appeal for that higher grade book for people to bid on next that didn't win the lower grade book, and they might be willing to go even higher on it. Yeah, there's a little something, maybe, huh? All right, what do we got? Mark, adding context to the flipper conversation. I think a flipper, for example, someone who goes to a con, picks up 20 copies of an exclusive with only the intent of quick profit. If you speculate on issues for a movie coming, I'm assuming that wasn't his whole statement. If you speculate on issues for a movie coming, sometimes that seems like investing in reselling. I doubt people would find that toxic. Well, Mark, your doubt is already blown out here because they do all the time. I mean, there's so many vocal people in this community that that attack just that. The people that sell and sit on book, they'll sit on multiple copies of a book for MCU spec. So I personally wouldn't differentiate. Again, it's like, I think and Mark, and I mad respect for you, Mark, and you are such a historian in this hobby, but I feel like your comment just now is a bit prejudicial because you're saying, it seems, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems that you're implying that a flipper is still somebody that has that's a detriment to the hobby. When so you're using the term flipper as this negative, condescending, prejudicial label. So, and I don't know if you meant it for it to sound like that, but I do. And one thing that I was agreeing with Larry, I don't think it's this black and white, but I'll go back to it. I do think the idea of flipper is just somebody who, is looking to purchase comics, whether it be multiple copies of that issue or not, but probably more often than not, and wants to flip them for a quick buck because they think they can do that on the market. I look at flippers like day traders. They don't care about investing in a stock that they believe has huge future value. They're like day traders. And I think that's the best way that we could try to coin the term flipper. We could compare it to day traders on the stock market. Day traders aren't going out just wanting to buy low these big blue chip stocks. Oftentimes they buy penny stocks that won't amount to nothing. But they know that they can there might be hype up around it. Maybe something's going down in a specific industry and they can buy low, quick flip, sell high, and then dump it all off and it crashes it back down to a penny stock. That's what I see a flipper as. And yes, like Mark was saying, there can be detriments in this mentality, but it doesn't mean that everybody doing that is slimy or unethical or greasy or trying to manipulate or anything. But you got to look at the territory and say, well, it could fall in line really easily. These things could come, people want to take advantage of the quick flip. So yeah, people can let that greed kind of take over for them to kind of push the quick flip as a way to profit even more, where they hype it up when there shouldn't be hype, or maybe they are just used car salesmen, or maybe they just straight up lie to you, something like that. Joseph, what is going to happen to comic books when the UFOs land? Janky Joe. I am a collector that sometimes sells books. Selling comics takes lots of time and energy. Yes, it does. Two things I have never had enough of. If people dedicated their time to selling books, they deserve their success. Love it. Thank you, Junkie Joe. That is Janky Joe. Very positive statement there. Agu. I don't know. Some people wouldn't agree with you. Some people would say that I'm, a lot of things, a lot of negative things, but I appreciate you recognizing that. Life's too short. Life is too short. We don't know what it is, but we're here, and it's a blessing. And it's a blessing to be able to talk about the things that we love. And there are real serious issues going on in the world. I've dealt with a lot in my own life. So I know that, trying to be positive through it all it's not only good for your own soul, but spread the love, right? It's cliche, but we're magnets. We attract energy, guys. We put out what we put in, or we get out what we put in, and that's what I believe in. All right, let's see. Well, Holy Harlot, thank you for staring deeply into my eyes. My eyes are actually green. That sometimes can, just depending on the light, get a little hazel, like with a little gray in there, some gray and gold, but they're mostly green. Thank you, Larry. It's all fun. Much love. Yeah. Somebody systems bringing up taxes. Yeah, I won't get into that. I don't think it's a party thing, but and look, I mean, it's a horrible thing what's going on in Ukraine. It is, but we know that the US and other countries, that we get involved in other affairs because of political interest. I mean, that's no secret. And it's sad that, I think we have enough money to do everything. We have enough money to help Ukraine. We have enough money to help Africa. We have enough money to help poverty throughout the world. We also have enough money to help ourselves. So I'm not one that sits there and says, well, what about, stop going into this country. What about our veterans, or what about our homeless, or what about, I do agree. We need to take care of ourselves first, but there's enough money to do it all. There is. And they just feed it to us in a way to where we have to divide and conquer. It's like we have to choose a side. We don't, though. We don't. The bottom line is there's enough money there, but people get in power, and power corrupts, just like comic books and comic book sellers and greed, or buyers and flippers and anybody, right? It's a human flaw. It's a human flaw. Bottom tier. Thanks for jumping in. I like this comment. Buyers from flippers usually don't have access from an LCS. I think there is a lot of truth in this. I do. Same with online sellers. And that's why online sellers have become big, it's not only convenient, but some people don't live close to an LCS. All right, let's get Moz is here. What's going on, Moz? All right, I'm almost caught up on the chat, folks. It's a lot of work. You guys are making me work. I agree with this too, and I said this before. I'm not victim blaming here. I am very empathetic to anybody that feels like they've been done wrong by any type of seller. And we should hold sellers accountable. We should always promote for, a certain level of ethics and business culture in any industry and community and hobby. But at the same time, all this crazy hate, it's like, against people that have YouTube channels or people on whatnot. It's like, nobody's forcing your hand. Nobody's putting a gun to your head. Be smart and educate yourself. I've been telling you guys that for years now. And I still get blamed for being a con man, dirty flipper, taking advantage of people. All I care about, I make money off of my spec. I hardly even do spec videos anymore. But, there's still those people out there. But you want to know why? It goes back to what I believe it was Brandon that said earlier, because these people, they're not champions of the community. They're mad because they don't have the success. They don't have the clout. They don't have the validation. They don't have the books. They don't have the books that you have, that I have, that somebody else has. And they want to flip. They want to make money. They want to be validated. They want a following. They want all those hearts. Dopamine fix. Narcissistic, ego-driven, hyper-responsive, addictive entitlement is very prevalent through this culture right now. American culture, Western culture, and quite honestly, throughout the world. And that's the true plague of comic books. And I keep saying that. Flippers, resellers, people that don't read comics, people that slab comics, variants, minorities, women, white people. Everyone's ruining, and it's something everyone's ruining. No, your negative attitude, your entitlement, your ego, your prejudices is what's ruining comic books. It's tiring. It's tiring. Yeah, no, Mark, and let me say this again. I'm going to, for those that may not have been here early, when I say prejudicial, I don't mean, we hear prejudice and we think racism, sexism, like prejudicial in its essence is to prejudge. And I felt that it sounded like you were prejudging the term flipper as somebody that is doing something to harm the hobby. Does that make sense? But yeah, I mean, I do again agree with seeing it that little personal investment. But I think it was the comment that you said that differentiated the exclusive variants at cons rather than buying up the movie spec. But maybe you were assuming like people that are buying a movie spec are still looking to possibly hold. But that's a little investment still. It's a little personal investment, even if they do hold. Ryan, I appreciate your critique on Tony's new EGS slabs in your previous video. Very helpful and encouraging to hear about CGC, CBCS alternatives. Thank you, Ryan. Absolutely. Yeah, man. Big things, guys. And, we're going to, I really, man, you guys really made this a great show. You guys made this a great show. I love it. I like when I have good, strong topics of discussion and I get into it. But you guys leaving your comments, building on, we had so many like discussions, at the same time we had like kind of 2 or 3 big talking point discussions and we went at it. It was awesome. I think a lot of people put in their perspectives and then we could kind of grow and learn from everyone. Right. So we're going to be wrapping up soon, but before I go, guys, before we go, I want to tell you guys again, I'm not showing all the books that I got from EGS because I do want you to watch that video. Still want you to watch the video. But this is, you know what, guys, you know what I'm going to do right now that I didn't do in the video? Don't go anywhere. I'm going to grab an old EGS slab and we're going to do a comparison. Hold tight. Hold tight, folks. Where are my EGS slabs? Oh, shoot. My room is a mess right now. And I have to get to them. They're under a box. Oh, my goodness. I'm telling you, you guys don't want to see it. You don't want to see it. All right, here we go. Here we go. Let me take this. I'm going to take this old case. All right, guys. And this is really cool because they're both Wonder Woman gold books, black and gold books. New case, old case. I know it's hard to see without the glare. And I requested these labels. They're obviously very similar. And just the only difference is you got the hologram on the new ones. But remember the old clamps at the top? Now you don't get them and you get the label at the top right there. These are thinner. The old ones are thinner. And of course they had the black, what do you call it? Like sealing pieces, where the new case, not anymore. That's official. They sit, and again, they're the same. They're the same dimensions, like length and width of CGC slab. They're a little thicker than the old cases. And I mean, look, you guys can hate on the old cases all you want, but they were still, they were nice for what they were. When you hold them in your hand, I know people didn't like the visual appeal, and I understand a lot of the negative was they're not official cases. Well, guess what? For those that thought that, fine. You got one now. But it's such a huge difference. Huge difference. UV protectant too on the new cases. The back of the labels are a little different as well. But there they are. I didn't do this in that video. I didn't compare the old one to the new one. I wish there wasn't so much glare. It'd be better if I had these sitting on a table and I could lift the camera and let me know what you guys think. Let me see what you're saying real quick. Let's see what we got. No. Oh, yeah, that's right. No more security seal either on the new ones. Forgot to mention that. Yes, Mark, much better without the notches. Definitely prefer the new cases, says Travis. Way too cool, says Simon. Once again, congratulations to Tony and team. I like the color labels. Microsoft ruined the sky blue color for me. Hey, I hear you. So, yeah, PQ. I think there's a large consensus where it's a quick flip. It is a quick flip. I think time matters, but I mean, yeah, LCSs buy books to sell quick too. So that's why, again, I don't pigeonhole in the labels. But final thoughts of tonight, folks, will be first a final thought on EGS. To champion what Simon just said. Big shout out to Tony and EGS and what he's been doing with this company. Nobody gave Tony a fighting chance. Nobody. Well, let me say not nobody, because Tony's been here for 4 years now. And he pushed through and he fought through. If nobody gave him a chance, he would have been done a long time ago. He wouldn't have got off the runway. But he did. And he pushed and he pushed. He did what he could with the resources that he had. But boy, did he not ever stop hearing the hate. So, and again, when I say hate, look, to each their own, right? I'm not shaming anybody that said, you know what? I just don't like it. I don't like whatever. It's not for me. I don't like custom labels. It's not for me. I don't like they're just a put together set. I don't like it. It's not for me. Look, that's fine. Now, there was hate that I will call simple hate, but then there were the doubters. There were the doubters. The doubters that even said, I'd go with PGX before I go to EGS because at least they're official. They have their own cases. This is next level, no matter what you thought before. So again, like I said on my video that I posted yesterday, you guys want to know for yourself. You want to know for yourself? Spend $25, whatever, 20 plus, whatever, shipping, whatever. Go send one book. One book. You could get yourself a custom label. You can help design the custom label. Or you get the standard blue label. One book. Go home, or when it comes back to you in the mail, open it up. Look at it. Look at the grade. Look at the aesthetics. Look at the case. Hold it. Feel it. And tell yourself, what do I think about EGS now? And then share it with the community. That's the only thing I could say to you guys. Because now, look, I understand there's the monetary factor. You know, so many people will say, well, CGC is always going to get more. So it's the bottom line, though. We're all entitled to our opinions, but you can only do so much looking at a book on a screen, in a case, on a screen. Spend $25 and go get one done for yourself. All right? Because what Tony has done with that company, I do applaud him so much, so much. Now, with that being said, final words on the show, guys. Again, thank you to the audience, to all of you in the chat for just making this an awesome one. I didn't plan on going 2 hours, but we almost did. I can barely feel my migraine right now, and I'm that's awesome. So, right on, Larry. Thank you. The label up close. 9.8. All I said I want a black label, and I want the kind of, it's like what do you call this type of a gold? You know, kind of a warmer gold to match. And then you got the EGS, you know, certification hologram. Very basic, very simple. You know, it's got the cover art, and then of course release date. Yeah. They are in Florida. P-Keel. Turnaround time, I believe on the website, it's Tony was here. Did it say 70 days? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. My turnaround time was, I can't tell you because I sent my books in some months back, and I checked off that I wanted to wait for the new cases. So they waited for the new cases. So I was one of the first in lines for the new cases. So once the new cases were in, it came back within a couple of weeks. So they are, I know for a fact, though, that they're faster than both CGC and CBCS right now. Big shout out to CGC, though, for really upping their game with the turnaround time. They've gotten a lot better. CBCS is horrible right now. But EGS is still quicker than both. Again, Darth Melvin, EGS Comics. This is their website. The link's below. EGXcomicsgrading.com. The link is below in the description if you want to go check them out. So yeah, but anyways, guys, no comic book canon on Sunday, taking the week off. We're going to make a special announcement for you guys to get involved for a special holiday show this following Sunday on the 30th. I really hope to see all of you guys there. If you're not, subscribe to us on Comic Book Canon. The link's below. Follow us on Instagram as well at Comic Book Canon, Canon with 2 N's. We're going to have an awesome announcement this weekend on how you guys could be featured on a special Halloween edition of Comic Book Canon. Thank you guys so much for hanging out tonight. I really do appreciate it. Appreciate all the chat and discussion. Be well. Be good to yourselves. Have a safe weekend. Be safe. Until next time.